Good afternoon. I'd like to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy days to come listen to my presentation. I'm going to be talking a little bit about myself, life experiences, and a self-help book that really helped me in the beginning, and recently I had to rely on it again, go back, reread it. So I'd like to share that with you. A couple of years ago, a life-changing experience occurred to me. It was one of the worst days of my life. I was called in by my supervisor, and I was effectively terminated without any cause. I struggled with this. I had to gather myself, gather my possessions in my office, and make a hasty goodbye and get down the road. As I was driving home, a million things were going through my head. My head was racing thousands of miles per hour. What was I going to do? What had happened? What? You see, I've been working since I was 8 years old, and I've never been terminated from a job. Not in my life. And I was at a loss. I just could not understand it. After I gathered myself later on that evening, I sat down and I thought about, let's take a look at my life and see how did I get to my position? How did I achieve so many things in my life that I've been blessed to have had the opportunity to do? What started that? Well, it came to me that I had stumbled upon a book years ago. I was finishing up an internship in Washington, D.C., and I was at one of the local bookstores looking around, and I came upon this book. It had the wildest looking cover on it, and it was by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it was called Your Erroneous Zones. I pulled it down, and I'm not really sure. Maybe I accidentally thought erroneous zones meant erogenous. But at any rate, I pulled it down. And this is the book cover. Kind of wild looking. Dr. Dwyer was younger back then, obviously, so was I. And this is the book that changed my life, or began to change it. It laid the foundation for a lot of things to be in place to make me successful. So I went back to the book, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to share a few of the important points in the book with you today. I'm not going to cover the whole book, but I'd like to share what I think are really good areas within the book. The first thing I needed to do, of course, when I seen the book, was to find out, what does erroneous mean? Your erroneous zones. Well, I looked it up in the dictionary. Erroneous is actually a synonym, if you will, of mistakes. Mistake zone. Your mistake zones. You made an erroneous answer. You made a mistake. So the doctor is talking about areas within your mind that he calls and refers to as your erroneous zones. The first area he calls is panic. And I definitely was in panic mode when I lost my job. I thought I was a failure. I was doing what the doctor calls negative victimization internally. I was telling myself I was a failure. I was looking at what did I do wrong. I was trying to figure out. I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. I was allowing panic, both external and internal, to control my life. Dr. Dyer says that panic puts you into one of your erroneous zones prisons, the panic prison. And when you're in the panic mode, you're not thinking right. You're not thinking clearly, and you're not moving forward. You basically immobilize yourself because of the panic zone. He teaches you that you have to master your thoughts, master your emotions. And so I did that. I said, no need to panic. Life will go on. Tomorrow the sun will get up, and we'll figure it out. So let's take a little bit, move on to another area, which he calls anger. the anger erroneous zone. He said we all have an anger prejudice within us. We even look at perceived potential threats and refer to this as, and he refers to this as the anger paradigm. We have the ability to look at things as threatening or non-threatening. And a lot of times we look at them as threatening. We don't act intelligently. I had to get out of my anger prison, my anger erroneous zone, because I was angry. I was looking at everyone, my supervisor, my company, even society. I was looking and being angry. And again, when you're in the angry zone, you're not moving forward. You are immobilized. You are not thinking positive. So, I needed to figure out how to get out of there. How do I do that? How do I take back control of my life again? So, I read the book and I learned that I can control my emotions. I can do things the way that I want things to be. I can choose to be happy or unhappy. So why would I want to choose unhappy when I could choose happy? Choice is the ultimate freedom, and each and every one of us has that choice. Another area that Dr. Dreyer talks about is approval. And I had been seeking approval, and I hadn't really thought about it. I thought I had gotten past that years ago, that I didn't need to get a pat on the back or anything. That I knew within myself, and I trusted my own judgment, that I was doing things correctly, and I was doing them to the best of my ability. We are taught approval from the moment we're virtually born. As young children, we're taught by our parents, do things, do this, do that. We get a little rub on the head, maybe we get a candy, maybe we get an allowance. We get this approval. When we go to school, the educational process is all about approval. Read chapters 1 and 2, take the quiz, do good on the quiz, get a good grade, write good. We get approval again. A report card even goes home to show our parents whether we are getting approval or not. We don't need that approval. We know, and we should trust our own internal judgment as to whether we're doing something right or wrong. If approval comes with it, so be it. But let's not let it be, again, something that if we don't get approval, we don't get that pat on the back, we don't get that raise, that we sit there and we sit in the approval erroneous prison. Again, we need to take charge of our emotions and move forward. We immobilize ourselves again. And I'm going to use that word repeatedly. The next place is worry. Worry. I was definitely worried in my situation. I was worried, how do I feed my family? How do I pay my bills? What am I going to do? Well, worry is one of those useless wastes of emotional energy. Feeling worry and the next erroneous zone, guilt about something, doesn't change anything. It doesn't change at all. We can't move forward from the past if we continue to worry about what happened, if we continue to feel guilty about what happened. Think about it. Dr. Dreyer says only ghosts relive their past. Well, I'm not a ghost. And I have to let go of that past. I have to let go of that job I had before. I have to quit worrying. Things, again, will take care of itself. I have to quit feeling guilty. Another erroneous zone. I have to get out of these prisons. And speaking of prisons, our prison systems are built upon many of these erroneous zones. Think about it. When we incarcerate a person, what do? We put them in a place where they have all the time in the world to think, all the time to worry about how they got there, all the time to feel guilty, all the time to reflect back on their past like a ghost. It's not going to change anything. And in fact, statistics have shown that most lawbreakers that go to prison, once they're released from prison, a majority resort back to bad behavior and end up back in prison. So clearly, guilt, worry, the way it's used in the prison system, does not work. And it doesn't work in our everyday lives. So let's wrap up here. We've covered some areas, and I hope you'll take those to heart and think about them. I hope you'll pick up Dr. Dreyer's book. And if you go to look for it, it's not this one. The recent publication, he's older, and I think he has a little more professional book cover now. This is what you'll find on the shelves. This is what you'll find as an ebook. And I really hope you'll pick it up, read it. It has a lot of good thoughts, ideas that you can implement to get rid of your emotional hang-ups, your erroneous zone prisons, so that you can move forward and understand that you're a human being and that you are part of humanity. And understanding this, you'll set yourself free from your erroneous zones. The bottom line is, we should all see people as human beings. No one is above ourselves in importance. And we should be masters of our thoughts and emotions. This will free us from our erroneous zone prisons that exist within all of us and allow us to move forward in a positive manner that is positive for us, positive for our lives. I leave you with this thought. You can choose to be happy or not. Choose to be happy. And don't worry. Thank you.